I'm just gonna point out a couple of things. Like, here's my window that I was looking out, and up there's a dog bowl. One of my dogs who died. It was when Smokey died. I took her dog bowl, made a light out of it. I put the light up there, wired it, and everything. But that was not the main point. I was looking out that window. As I was drinking some water and looking at my that cross. And yeah, I haven't actually put it up yet, but so I gotta. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Anyway, you know, I made that in 4 languages I have on there, and because when they crucified Christ, you know, they Pontius Pilate put up on the top there. I think in the languages, all the languages of the day. I can't remember how many there were. He put it in, but in like 3 languages, or could be 4 languages. I don't know. I did 4 languages. I did Spanish, French, English, French, and Italian and Spanish. And but anyway, I'll get back to that in a second. Here's my pepper bush. See, look at some of these peppers. Like, I'm not sure exactly where the phone was looking, but anyway, and I seen some over there. So I can get them. Let's see. I don't know. Anyway, I hope that got in there. Yeah, I might do some talks from up here. See what I made up there. Let's see. Anyway, I made a seat up there. It was a garden, like the Garden of Eden. But then one day, the Garden of Eden, the human beings in charge of the Garden of Eden didn't do what I guess they were supposed to do, and now the garden, well, it got scorched. With that pepper bush right there, that's the only thing that survived. Anyways, and I'm gonna sit down and talk about my cross. I've got this phone down. In a second, get some water here. All right. Well, so listen. So today now is like a high noon right now, and so this is I'm in my 3rd day of fasting now, and I was getting some water, filling up my water cup at the kitchen sink, and I was thinking about my cross in the front yard, and the fact that at the top I don't have the 4 different languages saying "be good." I don't have that, but instead I have my God, why have you forsaken me? And I'm gonna go into that later. But thinking about both of them, pretty much simultaneously, and the fact that about anorexia. See, Started thinking about anorexia because I was noticing that when uh, and it's a familiar feeling, because I fasted, I don't know. I mean, I fasted like pretty many times in my life. Like I'm not gonna say I fasted like 10 times, but maybe pretty close to 10 times. Long fast, and it gives you a sense that after a while of not eating, it gives you a sense of empowerment. Okay, so it's kind of like a high, you might say. Kind of gives you like a high, and it's a high that gives you a feeling of empowerment. And there's something about not eating that, like, and once you get to like a point where you're not eating, and you kind of get over maybe the most like severe hunger pains, kind of like in the beginning, like, man, you really got to eat or something like that, or something. Like, I mean, when I was younger, it was actually harder for me than it is now, because I remember when I was younger, it was more difficult for me to fast. Right now, now, I mean, I'm in my third day. It's not really a problem for me. I mean, I kind of brush it off. Like sometimes my stomach gets hot, sometimes it makes noises, but I just brush it off, and that ain't no big deal. And at least, I mean, that's what it is now. Now, as I've done so far on this particular fast here. And so anyway, I was thinking about that's why people probably I know that people that have anorexia are people that starve themselves and might even make themselves throw up because they don't want food in their stomach, because I'm thinking, I mean, I know my first Adam, I don't know if you're from Amber or Adam grandchildren, but their mom, when she was a kid, she told me, and I've seen pictures, a picture in particular, like when she was 16, she was anorexic, she really wouldn't eat, so, she got skinny, she wouldn't eat. And I'm just saying, deflecting, if you really want to know about it, you can ask her, maybe. But in my experience, I'm just projecting onto what I think it would be like to be anorexic, the kind of high you would get off of not eating. Because there is a certain kind of empowerment and a high that you get from not eating. And once you get past a certain point of eating, you're no longer driven by your stomach. It's kind of like a rude kind of way to say it, but that is what it is in the physical, but there's also something in this emotional, in the psychic, and in the spiritual. And it's a form of empowerment. It's kind of like what people call, a high point. I mean, it's like in sports, sometimes you get in the flow and you're just moving, without much thought, kind of like my headless chicken campaign, which I really need to get back onto. But you get kind of like a flow. You're in the flow, and it's a high. And it's kind of the same thing. When you go without food, you kind of get on that kind of a feeling of just motion and movement and not much thought. It's kind of like that. I mean, I'm not saying that and I'm not really saying that it's really exactly the same. It's kind of like a down scale, but nevertheless just this kind of a feeling of empowerment. I mean, basically that's all I'm trying to express, is a feeling of empowerment. And so, I was thinking about that, and remember where it was going in my mind completely to what end. I'm not sure to what end I was thinking, but just, I guess, to the end right now that I'm having a sensation of sort of like empowerment. But as I was looking out my window thinking about that, I was thinking about my cross and the fact that, you know, the reason I don't have 4 languages be good, which is kind of a juxtaposition or a repurposing maybe of what Pilate did, putting up there. I think he wrote up there, King of the Jews, or no, they said he was King of the Jews. There's something like that. But I think whatever they did, they put it in more than one language. So because there's more than one language at work in Jerusalem. Pretty sure he was killed in Jerusalem, and on the hill of Golgotha. I think it is Jerusalem, because he was killed by the Pharisees, just using the Roman government. You know, the Pharisees didn't like him, and they were the Hebrews, see, the strict Hebrews. Like, okay, you have some Hebrews, you know, that believe in God, and then you have some Hebrews or Jews don't believe in God, and they don't believe in life after death either. So you have 2 different kinds, you know, but neither one of them would accept that Jesus Christ was the Messiah spoken about in their you know, writings, you know, in their scriptures, in their Torah, and in the books of Judges and Kings, and then the prophets. Those are all their books. See, you know, those are their prophets, you know, fighting against, you know, their people, you know. It's all inside of their writings and stuff. And you know, the Roman Empire, I mean, that was their law, okay? The Roman Empire came with kind of an overarching law. They're going to subjugate the religion. The religion is going to not be in charge no more. The Roman law is going to be in charge, and the Roman government. Anyway, because the thing is, I kind of lost the impressive point, how it really impacted me, but the way that it really impacted me hard, I hope I can bring it out, is that, see, Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? And the reason and the kind of the way, I think, how I found my new faith, I just kind of, when I was in the Gulf War, you know, on JFK, I had that dream and everything, and after, because that was kind of like the crisis point, like, of my internal struggle, kind of, you know, and actually feeling like I was betrayed by God, see? And finding out in my subconscious telling me that the heavens are silent anyway, and there probably ain't even any God anyway. It's all a figment of your imagination. Okay. Well, that when I came down to that point of, you know, utter despair and like lost my faith completely, all the way to the end. Like, no. After that dream, when God didn't answer me in any kind of way, and the sharks were coming in, I woke up angry that I had been bullshitted. I had succumbed to basically a lie. Okay? I believed a lie. And if it wasn't a lie, God left the store a long time ago anyway. Like, if the world is God's store, you know, yeah, he's the owner, and he left. Yeah, like that. God left the store a long time ago. Yeah, look, Einstein, he didn't necessarily believe in God, but he stood in awe of the universe. He spoke about I think like a force, but he didn't talk about God as in the sense of religious thought of, you know, everything is then, you know, sacrifice and all that kind of stuff, you know. I mean, at least in the Catholic and Protestant religions stemming from Judaism. But the Jews, they don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Right? So, like, I don't know what a Jew thinks, but I think they kind of probably pissed off about, you know, their books being associated with the New Testament Gospels. It's like a slap in the face. and everything after Jesus Christ. Anyway, I was just thinking that, you see, it's the communication. See, the redeeming factor in that is that when Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me? See, okay, that's honest, and that's true, and it is what it is, and it is as it appears. Okay, God did forsake him as an experience. See, but you know, he's still talking to God. See, all right. So look, you might feel like I did. God forsook you. You were forsaken by God. And you know, it don't get any better than that. All right, you can be forsaken by someone you love or someone you trust. You can be forsaken. You can be betrayed. But when you come down to the point of having, after living a certain kind of way, to please God, to be more like God, you know, wants you to be more like, you know, penitent of your past sin and any sins that you may have realized that you did, or just feeling like a sinner. You know, you can't sometimes control your own you know, self, your own, and that is what it says in the Proverbs. You know, the person who can control himself is mightier than the person who can control the city. And that's probably why this here fast say I'm controlling myself on one hand. I'm not letting my body dictate. You know, Paul said, you know, that he would buffet his body. That means you know, beat his body up. In the sense of for discipline. So like, okay, today, like, we don't really implement discipline with like sticks anymore, or stones. You know, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names never hurt me. We might use names, but that's why they came up with that saying: sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So, you know, but the metaphor, see, is still true. You have to, no pain, no gain kind of deal. You have to, like, you know, discipline yourself, and your body might not want that discipline and might fight you. See, you are your body, but actually you're fighting yourself. But I'm just saying, you know, the inner and the outer. That's why I'm looking forward to rehearsing again, you know, Joseph Campbell's book, The Inner Reaches of Outer Space. Because, you know, the inner and the outer struggle is, we are the wild deuce. We are the wild deuce. We got the inner and the outer. Yeah, we got a spirit in the body. We got to discipline our body as though, you know, but it is, we are all one. But we are kind of like also divided in two, and we see that even in the gender of our species, of animals and humans. You know, I mean, most of the time, male and female. No, it's two to make one. Like that. But anyway, today I realized, looking at my cross out the window, drinking my water, I said, "Oh, behold." That's the reason why. Because that's why I put it up there at the top. Man, I just figured it out, really. I mean, my intuition told me, no, I can't put that other one up there at the top. I gotta put his statement, Jesus' statement. My God, why have you forsaken me? Up at the top. And, because that's what was in his mind, Why do I want to put what was in Pontius Pilate's mind up there at the top? No. I'll put what Jesus. That's why when you go to heaven, if just metaphorically speaking, I don't want to get into that kind of debate or anything. Sometimes I feel like I got to be a polemist, try to prove some kind of idea that I'm not really interested in trying to prove, because it can't really be proven. Right? But only kind of proof that I can give is what I've been saying in these talks, and that is it's kind of like the Buddha said, certain things are given to people who can see and hear, or whatever it said. I can't remember. To those who can know, see and know, maybe hear and know with your brain, with your mind, you know something like that. That's what the Buddha said too. He was like 500 years before Christ, and well, you see, it's not, my sign be good in 5 languages. Okay, that's what I'm telling anybody who comes to my property, right? But that ain't got nothing to do with my religion and my spirituality. My spirituality is coming from the top. My God, why have you forsaken me? That's where I found my faith, okay? Just like the Buddha said, suffering is and was, and it comes out of, faith comes out of suffering for me. And I was kind of happily surprised when I seen that that's what the Buddha said. After I was thinking about my dad was taking up his energies with the teachings of the Buddha. I'm thinking that's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't really feel like I've made any kind of big impression about, faith, but actually, it's kind of an impressive nodal, N-O-D-A-L, nodal kind of moment today, because I kind of just really actually figured out what I've been thinking about ever since I was in the Navy. It was around 1994 when I had that dream, I think, or 1993 or 94, I don't know, 94, I don't know. No, wait a minute, yeah. No. Yeah, I'm confused, man. I don't remember what time. I don't remember what year it was. I have to look at that letter that I wrote my dad from the Navy. Anyway, but it definitely ain't from being good. Well, it's from suffering. All right, bye.